Okay, so good evening. So this is module one of pathophysiology. And of course, just like in any other subject, the first module will always be an introduction. But this is going to be a combination of an introduction plus a little bit of immunology. So we will not be tackling uh, uh, very deep into immunology. We will just be uh, you know, study some of the basic concepts which will be essential for the next topics to come. Okay, so for the intro of pathophysiology, the field of pathophysiology is devoted to understanding the causes of disease, okay? The causes of disease, okay? And the changes in cells, tissues, and organs that are associated with disease and give rise to the presenting signs and symptoms in patients. So there's a difference between a sign and a symptom. Okay, so I will discuss that later. Um, First, what is an etiology? Okay, so etiology refers to the underlying cause or the underlying causes and modifying factors that are responsible for the initiation and progression of disease. Okay, particularly, we're talking about here a risk factor. Okay, so when you speak of a risk factor, okay, so when you speak of a risk factor, it could be modifiable or a non-modifiable. So from the word itself, modifiable na modify, non-modifiable, hindi na modify. So the non-modifiable risk factors include the gender, or just to be more specific, sex at birth. The next will be age, okay? And the next will be the race, okay? So for the modifiable risk factors, we have here your lifestyle, okay? And then you also have your habits, okay? So ibig sabihin, ang modifiable risk factors, these are something that you can change along the way, okay? So you may have developed a habit of smoking or binge drinking when you were young, but that doesn't mean that you are, predisposed to be that way for the rest of your life. So meaning modifiable, you have an option to modify whatever it is you are right now. All it takes is a very, very, s- sturdy mind and, discipline. Okay. Next, we have uh, pathogenesis. For pathogenesis, this refers to the mechanisms of the development and progression of a disease, which account for the cellular and molecular changes that give rise to the specific functional uh, and structural abnormalities that characterize any particular disease. Okay? So, thus, etiology refers to why a disease arises, and pathogenesis describe how a disease develop. So, ang etiology mo sa Tagalog, ito yung pinagmulan, ito yung naging sanhi. Okay? Pag sinabi mong pathogenesis, sorry, and also sa etiology, sinasabi din natin dito, ano ba yung mga bagay kung bakit ka nagkaroon ng ganyan, no? Yung katabi mo hindi, pero ikaw nagkaroon. Okay? So, yung mga predisposing risk factors mo, that will fall under etiology. But kapag nagkasakit ka na, okay, bakit ngayon sa akin, ang COVID-19, hindi naman ganun kalala. Pero sa mga senior citizen, sa mga immunocompromised, the disease progression of the COVID-19 disease is far more brutal, no? That can it which it can actually kill them in just a short span of time. So, thus etiology refers to why disease arises, and pathogenesis describes how a disease develops. So I have mentioned a while ago uh, the difference between the ano, signs and symptoms. Okay? So, kunwari kung ikaw ay nagkasakit, okay, ano ang sign, ano ang symptoms? First, please remember that signs are always objective, while the symptoms are always subjective. So, from the very short differentiation of the two, you can see that signs are actually can be seen by the observer, while symptoms, subjective, ikaw lang. Okay? Ikaw lang ang nakakaramdam. So what are the example of symptoms? Symptoms can actually be more pertaining to pain. For example, ako, ang sakit po kasi ng ulo ko. Okay? Kung ikaw, tiningnan mo yung katabi mo, nakangiti, pero hindi mo alam deep inside, nasasaktan na yung dibdib niya, nahirapan siya huminga, okay? Or kumukulo na yung tiyan niya, kasi siya lang naman yung nakakaramdam nun, okay? But in objective, this is something that you as an observer can observe. For example, fever. Sinabi ng pasyente, feeling ko linalagnat ako. Okay? And then nung hinawakan mo yung noo niya, true enough, no? The temperature is higher than normal. For example, sinabi ng pasyente na sakit ng paa ko. Okay? Pag tiningnan mo, true enough also, no? The foot is swelling. So you can see there that there's erythema, there's swelling, there's splitting edema. Okay? So all of those things are objective. Okay? So yun lang naman ang basic differentiation ng dalawa. I hope hindi niyo siya ma-confuse. Okay, so going back here in my handout. So, of course, in cell injury, uh, everything that takes place, yung nakikita ninyo, pag may sakit yung tao, that's not how the disease started. No? It always started with a very simple cell injury. So, there's a lot of causes for a cell injury. First, we have hypoxia and ischemia. Okay? So hypoxia refers to oxygen deficiency only. Ibig sabihin, wala pang damage na ginagawa yan. So ibig sabihin, if you have a decrease in oxygen, that only pertains to hypoxia. But when you have damage already, that can now pertain to ischemia or an infarct. Wala yung infarct dito but I will differentiate it later. Okay? The most common cause of hypoxia is ischemia, resulting from an arterial obstruction, but oxygen deficiency can also result from inadequate oxygenation of the blood, as in a variety of diseases affecting the lung or from the reduction of oxygen carrying capacity of the blood, as with the anemia of anicos and carbon monoxide poisoning. So, himay-himayin natin. So, sabi dito, the most common cause of hypoxia is ischemia resulting from an arterial obstruction. Obstruction meaning bara. Obstruction of justice. I think you're familiar with the term. So, ibig sabihin, yung flow of justice is being obstructed kasi merong mga pumipigil sa pag-flow ng investigation. So that is also the same in arterial obstruction. Remember, your arteries carries what? Oxygen-rich type of blood. So between the vein and the arteries, you do not want your arteries to become obstructed. Okay? Because that is very important in the delivery of your oxygen to your tissues. Okay? So first, I would like to differentiate the difference between an ischemia and an infarct. So it says here that, okay, it says here that uh, merong pwedeng maging cause ng, basically, pinag-uusapan natin class is the decrease in oxygen, no? So, ang ischemia daw, resulting from an arterial obstruction. But ischemia, for example, this is your arterial lumen. And then, of course, what type of blood do you have here? You have an oxygen-rich type of blood. Okay? So, your blood is flowing here freely kung wala namang problema. Okay? But there are some cases, like for example, in cases of atherosclerosis, what happens is that there's thickening in the tunica intima of layer of your arteries. So that will now give rise to a stable fibrin clot here. Yung matataas ng cholesterol, oy, madami po kayong bara no nagbabara. So we will discuss that when we will when we will be in the cardiovascular module. So when something like this happens, wala namang problema. Ano nangyari? Decrease lang ang blood supply mo kasi merong nakaharang dito. The least that you do not want to happen is for these to uh, eject or slough off. Because when that happens, this will now free flow, okay, to whatever it is that, kung anong in short, kung saan niya trip pumunta. But most especially in the microvascular areas. So this is your aorta. Malaki ang aorta. Kung ang bara mo ganyang kaliit, walang mangyayari. Okay? But if this is the heart and then, pang ganda ng heart to. Basta, and this is your coronary artery, then you have your left circumflex artery, your descending artery. Okay? So yung ganyang kaliit, remember, ganyan siya, yung arch of aorta. And then, pag yan nagbara dito, kasi this is microvascular, sabihin maliit. Okay? So this is microvascular areas. So kapag nagbara yan dyan, so what will happen is that the blood flow will be diminished. Okay? So therefore, the area of the heart that needs what you call the more oxygen will die. Okay? Will die. So that will now cause, remember, di ba, kung walang oxygen, uh, nagsiswitch ng pathway ang inyong body. That will now turn, ang pathway niya, it will produce oxygen from, you know, uh, other compounds, and then the byproduct is lactic acid. So that is why when you are in running at hindi ka nag-breathe ng maayos, you experience body pains after. So breathing is very important when you do exercise. So in short, when your heart produces lactic acid, that will now produce a lot of pain to the patient, and then that will now cause a heart attack na tinatawag natin. Okay? So, depende pa sa heart, no? Kasi remember, your left ventricle is the thickest part of your heart. Therefore, it is the one that demands the more oxygen. Okay? E dyan pa na mahilig magbara, no? So, your left ventricle needs more oxygen because it's the thickest part of the heart. Bakit siya thickest? Because it is the one, uh, siya yung nag-open ng aortic valve. Okay? Siya yung nag-open ng, baliktad kasi yung drawing ko, dapat pa ganyan pala siya, no? So, para siyang ano, no, minion. So yung left ventricle is a thick muscle because it needed more pressure to overcome the aortic valve pressure para magbumuka siya. No? Kasi that will now be flown out into the systemic circulation. But in cases that your heart can, ischemia is acute. Okay? So, meaning ang cells mo dito can still be revived. Okay? However, kapag hindi mo na-revive yan, that is now what we call an infarction. So, literally, the tissue is dead. Okay? the tissue is dead already there. So walang salvation for that. Okay. So other causes of anemia, ang sabi dun sa handout ay, sorry, other causes of hypoxia ay anemia. Ay sorry, wala pa sinabi anemia. No? Inadequate oxygenation of the blood as in variety of diseases, lung, anong sipan. Okay. So what we are trying to say here is that in cases of anemia, you have decrease in hemoglobin. There's a lot of anemia, but I'm gonna give you the most common, which is an uh, iron deficient anemia, which is also called as your microcytic hypochromic anemia. Okay? Wait lang ha. Wait lang. Okay? So your microcytic, ay sorry, ang pangit ng sulat ko talaga, no? Hypochromic, hypochromic anemia. Okay? So your, uh, eraser nito. Yun. Hypochromic anemia. Okay? So in cases of anemia, uh, bumababa ang inyong hemoglobin. And sa part ng RBC that is responsible for carrying adequate oxygen is your hemoglobin. Okay? Actually, hindi naman bumababa yung number ng count ng hemoglobin. It's just the oxygen carrying capacity of hemoglobin ang naapektuhan. Okay? So when that happens, imagine wala kang ambara sa katawan mo. Pero kahit na sobrang tumapat ka na sa oxygen, hindi naman makadeliver kasi defective ang iyong iron supply na nakakaapekto sa hemoglobin. Other causes are pulmonary diseases. Pulmonary diseases, for example, your TB, pneumonia, emphysema, which will fall under the chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases. No, emphysema, which will fall under the chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases. Okay? Yung COPD, seen in smokers kasi ito. So, ibig sabihin, okay, yung hemoglobin mo, wala kang bara, but the lung itself is impaired. Therefore, the exchange of gases between your lungs and your blood is also impaired. Therefore, that will result to hypoxia. So that is why in cases of COVID, what do we monitor? The oxygen saturation. Okay? 98, 95, 95. Okay? Pag bumagsak na yan ng 93, nagpapanik na kami. Okay? Kasi that means that the patient is already desaturating, meaning the blood itself is already desaturated, meaning the proper concentration of hemoglobin is not reached despite our efforts to put the patient in oxygen. Kapag hindi talaga siya gumagana sa O2 sa O2 cannula, ano nangyayari? Ini-intubate ang pasyente. So you have a mechanical ventilator there. So that will now provide the patient with adequate oxygen. Okay? Carbon monoxide, what is a carbon monoxide? Carbon monoxide is carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless gas. It's a poison that you cannot smell and you cannot see. So therefore, this is the perfect murder weapon. Okay? So if you want someone to I'm nako, off the record no, if you if anyone who wants to, unalive themselves, okay? So they could be smart enough to use carbon monoxide. Okay? So usually nakikita to sa mga bahay sa US because their garage is a part of their house. And then I don't think I think it has something to do with the fumes being released. Okay? So that is why in the house says in the US, meron silang carbon monoxide detector. Apart pa doon sa smoke detector na nag-activate na nagsasabog ng tubig kapag merong kapag merong smoke na na-detect. Sa atin kasi sa Pilipinas, ang common lang ay smoke detector lang. Okay, but in the US, they also have a carbon monoxide detector. So when it beeps, cover your mouth, you get out of there. Okay? Because, bakit? Between oxygen and carbon monoxide, hemoglobin will favor carbon monoxide, I think 200 times greater. Basta sobrang mas pinapaboran niya ang carbon monoxide than oxygen. At hindi yan bibitaw. Okay? So therefore, in carbon monoxide poisoning, oxygen saturation, oxygen via a cannula, oxygen tank will not be enough to dispel your carbon monoxide poisoning. Okay? The toxins include air pollutants, insecticides, carbon monoxide, and so on and so forth. Okay? Asbestos, cigarette smoke, ethanol, and drugs. Nakalimutan ba ako? Okay, wala. So many drugs in the therapeutic doses can cause cell or tissue injury in susceptible patient or in many individuals. If used excessively or inappropriately, even innocuous substances such as glucose, salt water, and oxygen can be toxic. So I would like to reiterate on this one. So gamot is not always a gamot. It is a medicine because you are prescribed within a certain therapeutic range. So sa gamot, meron tayong tinatawag na therapeutic dose and a lethal dose. If uh, your antibiotic is prescribed to you as 3 times a day, TID, for 7 days, you do not want to go beyond that. Okay? Okay, if paracetamol is prescribed to you 500 milligrams every 4 hours for fever, hindi mo nagugustuhin lumampas pa doon. Because there's only a certain concentration of the drug that you want your drugs to be there. Because if it exceeds the therapeutic dose range, papasok na siya sa lethal dose range. So it becomes a poison already. So there are certain drugs like warfarin who really have a very, very therapeutic window. Okay? So therefore, uh, masobrahan ka lang ng 0.1, 0.01 cc, pwede ngayon mamatay yung pasyente, papasok pa siya sa lethal dose. Okay? Magkakaroon ng ah, widespread fibrinolysis dun sa katawan kapag ka nasobrahan ka ng warfarin. Okay? So that's the purpose of having a therapeutic dose. And then the next one is your innocuous substances such as your glucose, salt, water, oxygen. Okay? Glucose. Kailangan natin ng glucose, di ba? Remember? If you want glucose, you get it from rice, you get it from your Coke, you get it from your bread. But if too much glucose will result to what? Diabetes mellitus, particularly type 2. Kasi type 1 is insulin depend no, it's not right to differentiate the two diabetes as insulin and non-insulin. Pareho ng insulin dependent yan. Anyway, Type 1 kasi you have a beta cell destruction in your pancreas where the autoimmune cells, your autoimmune antibodies targets the beta cells. Therefore, you do not produce insulin at birth. And that will be and then that will be your condition for the rest of your life. But in cases of a modifiable risk factor such as eating, obesity, okay, your glucose, your diabetes will be type 2. Therefore, it will now also be toxic sa katawan. Okay? Salt, do you need salt? Of course, you need salt. Salt is a major extracellular cation. Okay? Remember, it is the major extracellular cation. However, when you have increase in salt, what happens? You develop hypertension. Okay? You develop hypertension. Water, okay, narinig nyo na yung sumali sa fun run or uminom ng madaming tubig, tapos uminom ng daming tubig tapos ayun no, namatay, no? So, there's water intoxication na tinatawag natin. Okay? Intoxication. And this can also be seen in pregnant women wherein you have an overdose in your oxytocin. Oxytocin is a hormone class, okay, that promotes uterine contraction. Okay? Oxytocin is a hormone that promotes uterine contraction. It is released during nipple stimulation. So wag na kayong pag nasa lying in, minsan linalaro ng midwife ang nipple ng nanganganak because that will now stimulate oxytocin production, that will now stimulate uterine contraction, therefore yung baby lalabas. Okay? Pero merong meds nito na available. For example, ayaw talaga atonic na yung uterus, napagod na yung nanay sa kakaire. Ngayon ang baby naipit sa gitna ng cervix, no? Sabi ko, hindi ka pwedeng mapagod, mami, kasi nasa lakalabas na yung ulo. Kailangan mo nang ilabas yung katawan. Pag nangyari yan, masasakal si baby. So, pwede mo ngayon tusukan ng oxytocin ang pasyente. So, in cases of oxytocin, pero you have to monitor because oxytocin is just I think 5 or 10 amino acid different with your uh, antidiuretic hormone. Okay? Magpinsan yan sila. They are both located sa pituitary gland, sa posterior pituitary gland. Okay, they are produced at both at the back of your pituitary gland. Nagkaiba lang sa nuclei. Okay? ADH from the word itself is anti-diuretic hormone. Anti-diuretic. Diuretic is ihi. Sorry kung pangit yung sulat. Diuretic. Okay? So, ihi. Anti. Ibig sabihin na hormone. So, ibig sabihin isang hormone na pumipigil sa pag-ihi. Okay? So, meaning, you hold water inside your body. So that's the purpose of your antidiuretic hormone. So when oxytocin exceeded its therapeutic level, it will now mimic the function of an antidiuretic hormone. So what will happen is that the pregnant women will not release the water, therefore water intoxication will happen. Oxygen, do we need oxygen? Yes. Is it good to have a high oxygen concentration? Yes, kasi malamig din siya, environment speaking. Pero kapag nasobrahan ka ng oxygen sa katawan, that will now promote metabolic alkalosis. So your blood pH will now be more than 7.35. Ito ang normal range will be more than 7.40. And you do not want that kasi magko-compensate ang lungs mo. Hihinga ka ng mabilis. Okay? Next, we have infectious agents. All types of infectious agents or disease-causing pathogens, including viruses, bacteria, fungi, and protozoans, injure the cell. So not all bacteria, not all fungi are actually bad. Some of them are good. However, some of them or most of them are opportunistic. Mamaya ko na i-discuss yun. Okay? Sa may part ng immunity. Okay? Now, next for immunologic reaction. Uh, Examples are autoimmune reactions against one's own tissues, allergic reactions against environmental substances, and excessive or chronic immune response to microbes. So you have an autoimmune reaction. Okay? So when is the time? Okay, ganito na question ko, no? So, lahat ng hindi sa'yo, pag pumasok sa katawan mo, will be recognized as foreign. So the body has a knee-jerk reaction to expel whatever it is. Okay? But vaccines, okay? So mag-stimulate ng immune response, papatayin nila yung vaccine, pero nakapag-develop naman ng antibody along the way. So, a good thing na rin yon. Or for example, nabakalan ka, may bakal na pinasok sa, ano mo, sa buto mo. Doc, mag-ano po ba yon? Mag-generate po ba ng immune response yon? Hindi. Kasi yung metal na ginamit doon is not known to be immunogenic. Okay? It's not immunogenic. Your body will not reject it. Okay? But in cases of autoimmune reactions, wala namang problema, no? So, like yung kay Chris Aquino, but suddenly your body starts to betray you. Okay? So, yung kakampi mo all this time will turn out to be against you, no? So, your body will kill itself, will target itself. Okay, but there's only one time in a person's life, particularly in the women, wherein they will not reject what is not their own. And that is during pregnancy. Okay? So hindi nila rin reject ang baby, no? Hence pinoprotektahan pa ng katawan ng nanay ang baby. So that's one of the miracles, no, in life, no. Kasi even in patients with cancer, may leukemia, kapag nabuntis yung patient, class nagre-remission talaga, no? So yung leukemia nawawala. Hindi naman nawawala, hindi gumagaling, pero nananahimik, no? Binibigyan ng panahon para mag-develop si baby. Okay? In all of these situations, immune responses elicit inflammatory reactions, which are often the cause of damage to cells. So for the genetic abnormality, so genetic aberrations can result in pathologic changes as conspicuous as the congenital malformations associated with the Down syndrome, or as subtle as the single amino acid, a substitution in hemoglobin giving rise to a sickle cell anemia. So as a consequence of deficiency of functional proteins such as enzymes in inborn errors of metabolism, or accumulation of damaged DNA or misfolded proteins, both of which trigger cell death when they are beyond repair. Again, I will go back to the first paragraph. Genetic aberrations can result in pathologic changes such as in Down syndrome, trisomy 21, di ba? So it has something to do with your excess chromosomes. And then giving rise to a sickle cell anemia. Ano ba yung sickle cell anemia? So sickle cell anemia, okay? So sickle cell anemia, you have a mutation in your HBB gene, okay? In your HBB gene. So you have a genetic mutation that leads to production of your hemoglobin S. So, may hemoglobin naman po pala eh. Wrong. Because hemoglobin S uh, is uh, will make your cell uh, stiff and sickle shape. Okay? Hemoglobin, 'di ba ang normal ay flexible biconcave na kayang magpasuot-suot, no? Para siyang donut na bouncy na supple. However, in hemoglobin S, para siyang ganyan, no? So, hindi siya nag-adapt dun sa shape ng dadaanan niya. So, that will now cause the cell to rupture more easily, and when that happens, you will have hemoglobinuria, hemoglobinemia, consumption of your haptoglobin. Okay, so then you will now be tested positive for hemoglobin in the urine. So yun lang naman. Next ay yung inborn errors of metabolism. So you will encounter this in your second, ay, ngayon ba yun? And then next analysis of urine and body fluids. So we call this the branched chain amino acid disorders. So you have a deficiency in a certain, in the pathway, you will give rise to tyrosinemia, alkaptonuria, maple syrup urine diseases. So hindi ko na, wag niyo na intindihin yan. Basta you have an inborn errors of metabolism, okay? Or an accumulation of damaged DNA or misfolded proteins, both of which trigger cell death when they are beyond repair. So next, nutritional imbalances. So protein calorie insufficiency among impoverished populations remain a major cause of cell injury. And specific vitamin deficiencies are not uncommon even in developed countries with highest standards of living. So kahit mayaman na ang isang bansa, hindi pa rin nawawala ang specific vitamin deficiencies. This, I guess, relative to the lifestyle of the patient already. Okay? So ironically, excessive dietary intake may result in obesity and also is an important underlying factor in many diseases such as type 2 diabetes, mellitus, and atherosclerosis. So we have a pandemic of obesity already. So uh, dati wala naman masyadong obese. Okay? Pero ngayon, ang dami na, no? So, regarding that, in cases of malnutrition, so it's either, yung sinabi sa handout, uh, yung either mali ang kinain mo, walang yung kinain mo, sumobra ka sa kinain mo, you will develop this. But there are some cases in developing countries, kasi class we do not use the word third world countries already, no? So mapapansin mo, it's developing or developed countries. So in developing countries, there's a common uh, there are two common types of nutritional imbalances, no? I think you have already heard this. Kwashiorkor. Okay, so, kwashior and marasmus. Is anyone familiar with these two? Okay. So, just a short differentiation, no? So, kwashiorkor versus marasmus. In kwashiorkor, you have a primary protein deficiency. Okay? Protein deficiency, but your calorie is sufficient. Okay? So uh, this affects from ages of 18 months to 3 years. Okay? And therefore, we have edema. Bakit may edema? Mamaya ko explain na. Okay? Basta keep in your mind that when you read protein deficiency or anything na nabasa ninyo na nagtatapon ka ng protein, nagsasayang ka ng protein, edema yan. Okay? Edema yan. Okay? So, therefore, this one has a uh, high mortality. Okay? Marasmus naman, you have a severe, prolonged starvation. Ito class ang literal na walang makain. Okay? So, edema, manas, titingnan mo mataba. Marasmus, hindi makakain. So, ang isipin mo si Marasmus ay payat. Okay? So, both protein and calorie are decreased. Okay? Then you have here, the age group is 6 months to 2 years. And then, therefore, you have a severe weight loss. Because there's protein wasting already. Okay? So, I will go back to this. No? Bakit? Because your protein is very important. Therefore, you need, sufficient amount of protein. So, kapag meron kang edema, hindi naman porke ibig sabihin niya mababa ang protein mo. Depende rin sa cause, no? But if you have a protein deficiency, asahan mo na that you will have an edema. Why? Because protein are the major, ano ba tawag keyword doon? Parang key player, parang major factor in keeping your plasma osmotic pressure. Tandaan nyo to class kasi lalabas to sa AUBF ninyo next sem. Okay? So plasma osmotic pressure. So what do you mean by plasma osmotic pressure? It is the pressure that holds all the liquid inside the blood vessel. So this is water, this is water, this is water, this is water. This is your intravascular, this is your extravascular. Ibig sabihin, ito ay blood vessel, ito ay tissues na. Okay, tissues na to. Ito ang ugat mo. This is, for example, your artery. Okay? So if you have high protein, madaming hahatak ng tubig papasok ng blood vessel mo. Okay? Therefore, walang masyadong tubig dito. But in cases of decreased protein, like in, for example, in your nephrotic syndrome, wherein you actually excrete more than 3 gram, okay, of protein per day. Okay, what happens is that when your protein decreases, okay, when your protein decreases, the opposite will happen. So meaning the fluid will go out, will go out, will go out, will go out. And what is the space? This is your tissues. Therefore, the fluid is not in the vein or not in the artery, but rather in the tissues already, resulting to edema. Okay? Wait na class, wait. Okay, next are your physical agents. So trauma, extremes of temperature. Trauma class meaning you do not think of pag nasa patophy tayo, when I say trauma, na-trauma kasi ako diyan eh kasi parang hindi natakot ako. Hindi gano'n, no? Trauma means like an external object hit you somewhere. Okay? So nadulas ka, natamaan yung hita mo. That's trauma. Okay? So this is actually a department in the ER, no? Trauma department. So ibig sabihin mga nabangga, nasaksak, okay, nahulog, gumulong, no? Yun. So extremes of temperature, ah pag cold, you will develop frostbite. Pag hot naman, hindi ka mapasok, masunog, no? Radiation also, electric shock and sudden changes in atmospheric pressure all have a wide ranging effects on the cells. So aging, a cellular senescence results in diminished ability of cells to respond to stress and eventually the death of cells on end of the organism. Okay. Next topic is the adaptation to cell injury. So for the overview of your adaptation to cell injury, adaptation is the cell's reaction to prolonged stress and repeated injury to protect itself and prevent recurrent injuries. Adaptations are either physical or functional. Remember class, your cell is just like you. Kapag ka nagkaroon ng stress, you have to adapt. Otherwise, you will die. Okay? So, hindi. Yan, no? You will die. So, ibig sabihin, si cell, pag naka-adapt, hindi okay. However, pag hindi, mamamatay. Okay? So, pag di kayo na ba nakapag-adjust, mamamatay kayo. Hindi, joke lang. No? So, you need to adapt. Okay? You need to adapt accordingly to whatever it is that is demanded from you. Okay? So, you enrolled in medical technology. Yes, it can be so demanding. Okay? But it's going to be worth it. Okay? So, adaptation. Okay? So, etiologies of cellular adaptation. O medyo mahaba-haba ito. No? So, kung ihanda nyo na yung papel nyo. So, atrophy. Okay. So, kapag ka nagkaroon ng stress si isang cell, okay, pwede siya magbago ng itsura. Okay? For example, atrophy. Atrophy is a decrease in size or number. So, ibig sabihin, size or number ng cells na lumiit, that's atrophy. Pero pag lumaki yan ng size, that's hypertrophy. Pag tumaas ng number, that's hyperplasia. So yung pagtaas, magkaiba, pero yung tawag sa pagliit, regardless or size or number, iisa lang, that's atrophy lang. Okay? Okay. So your atrophy, you have a decrease in size or number of cells. Okay, you have a decrease in size or number of cells. But atrophy is not always bad. Okay, sometimes it is normal. So in short, we have a physiologic and a pathologic atrophy. Okay? Physiologic, an example nito ay thymus gland. Okay, klase yung thymus gland natin, this is actually an immune organ, immune system organ. Ang laki niyan pag panganak ng baby. Halos masakit niya yung leeg. Pero pag tumanda na, biglang liit. Okay? Biglang liit na ng thymus. Thymus ha, hindi thyroid. Okay? Thymus. Tapos, you have a hormone stimulation in menopause. Okay? So you have a reach an age wherein you can no longer produce a hormone to maintain your vaginal area, your uterus, okay? Kasi Kasi consistently stimulated yan ng estrogen. Kaya nga yung mga nagsasuffer ng yung mga hot flashes, yung mga premenopausal syndrome, hindi kinakaya, nagtitake na lang ng estrogen para lang hindi mo na agad mag-menopause bigla-bigla, no? So hormone stimulation in menopause, that's your physiologic. However, in pathologic, uh, sinabi sa handout, you have decrease in blood flow, and then you have a decrease in nerve stimulation. So decrease in blood flow, like for example, may bara, and then nerve stimulation, both can be seen in cases of stroke. Okay? Mapapansin ninyo yung mga na-stroke, yung hindi na magalaw yung kanang bahagi ng katawan nila, lumiliit. Okay? So anong way para maiwasan yun? Therapy talaga. No, so minamasahe, nag binebend yung kamay, binebend yung paa para hindi tuluyang maging lumpo. Okay? So that is why yung nerve stimulation mo, babalik naman yan. Pero meron talagang hibang hindi bumabalik. In cases of stroke, you need to do therapy, rehabilitative therapy once and for all. Okay? Next, we have hypertrophy. Hindi ko na isi-shift yung screen. Okay? So, is hypertrophy is an increase in cell size. Okay? Hypertrophy increase in cell size. It is due to increase in workload, exercise, or increase in hormone supply. So nasa handout yan. I hope you have your handouts with you. So your hypertrophy can also be physiologic. It can also be it can also be pathologic. Okay? Ang physiologic mo ay ano bang pwede? Ayun. Physiologic mo ay in cases of heart muscle. Increase in heart muscle. Okay? This is seen in doing cardio exercise. Hindi masama pag lumaki ang puso mo gawa ng exercise. Bakit? Remember, this is your heart. Okay, you have your four chambers here and then you have your muscles here. Okay? So, kapag ganyan ang itsura ng heart ninyo, pag lumaki yung muscle, the ratio of the muscle to the ratio of the atria and the ventricles ay equally proportion. So, ibig sabihin, kung lumaki man yung puso mo, lumaki din yung spaces, lumaki din yung muscle. So, ibig sabihin, edi maganda, no? So, proportion ang paglaki ng heart ninyo. But in cases of uncontrolled hypertension, there's what we call a cardiomegaly. You can see this in the X-ray of your father, your uncle, even your mother, no? Cardiomegaly is seen in cases of uncontrolled hypertension. When you have an increase in blood pressure, therefore your heart rate also increases. So, ang mangyayari nito, kunwari ito yung heart mo, ito yung left atrium, ito yung right atrium, right ventricle, okay? Right atrium, right ventricle, okay? So, ang mangyayari dito, hindi proportion. Okay? So, what will happen here is that the muscle of your left ventricle will become thick, but the space here, okay? But the space here ay maliit. So, therefore, kapag nag-push ka ng blood dito, tapos nag-push ka din ng blood dito, okay? Bumabalik. Okay? Bumabalik. That's what we call regurgitation. Okay? That is what we call a regurgitation. Okay, so lesson learned, if you want your heart to be big, you have a big heart. No, sasabihin ng iba, hindi nila alam uncontrolled yung hypertension mo. No, no, you're gonna die. No, no, I'm kidding. No, so you have a big heart. Meaning it means you're kind. Pero pwede rin na if you want someone to say that you have a big heart, it is because that you're doing cardio exercises. Okay? An example also ay pregnancy. Okay? Hypertrophy physiologic uterine hypertrophy. Okay? 'Di ba remember your uterus for the women here, your uterus sits on top of your urinary bladder. So therefore, maliit lang 'yan, no? Pero pag nabuntis, lumalaki. So that is why, kunwari, this is your urinary bladder. Nandito yung uterus, anteverted. Okay? Pero pag lumaki yung ano mo, nabuntis ka, nandito ngayon siya, no? Kaya pinupush niya ngayon yung urinary bladder. Kaya yung mga buntis kawawa, ihi ng ihi. No? Kasi napupush yung kanilang urinary bladder. Okay. Next ay hyperplasia. Hyperplasia, hyperplasia is an increase in the number of cells due to chronic irritation or need increased stimulation, like for example, increased hormone levels or clinical abnormalities. Hyperplasia, sige, meron naman siyang physiology. Physiologic hyperplasia can be seen in uh, endometrial hyperplasia, but I would like to emphasize as part of the normal menstrual cycle. Okay? Meaning nag-hyperplastic ang endometrial lining mo during your menstrual cycle. Kapag ka hindi nagamit yung thickening, kasi 'di ba remember, kapag ka nagkaroon ng union ng egg at ng sperm, kailangan niya na makakapitan. So kumakapal sa endometrium para yung fertilized egg doon kakapit. Okay? Ngayon, kapag hindi siya kumapit doon, malalaglag yung bata. So that is why sabi nga nila yung mga nagpapa-abort, kinakayod yung uterus kahit na ang hina ng pinagkakapitan, no? So nalalaglag yung bata. Pero kung hindi nagamit, ang mangyayari? Magsa-slap off yon in a form of your menstruation once a month. Okay? And then we have here puberty, breast. Okay? Those are normal physiologic hyperplasia. But when it comes to pathologic terms, okay, so there are some cases that you do not want hyperplasia to happen, like in benign prostatic hyperplasia. Okay? Benign prostatic hyperplasia is seen in men over 40 or 50 years. They will be monitored na. Ako, malapit-lapit na ako monitor for this one. Uh, Next, we have your endometrial hyperplasia. Also like this one, which is not part of your normal menstrual cycle. So, ibig sabihin, remember, pag hindi nagamit, nagbi-bleed, nagme-menstruate. So, kung parang nagkaroon ka ng endometrial hyperplasia na hindi mo pa naman part ng cycle, kumakapal siya ng kumakapal. Kasi nga, increased hormone stimulation, ano nangyayari? Nagbi-bleed yung babae. And that can cause secondary anemia. Okay, anemia secondary to uterine bleed. Okay? So, anong gagawin? Anong gamot? That is the only time when the dilatation and curettage is medically beneficial. RASPA. Okay? Yung mismong abortion class, RASPA yun. Okay? Pero may bata kasi doon. So, ina-abort, pinapatay mo. Pero kung ikaw lang yung tipo na nagkakaroon ka ng bleeding kasi overly stimulated ang iyong uterus, ang mangyayari nun ay kakayurin lang naman din yun para hindi ka na mag-bleed. Okay? So, if you know anyone who is suffering from endometrial hyperplasia and occasional spotting, have them checked by an OB, and then let the OB discuss what is best for her. Okay. Next, we have your metaplasia. Metaplasia is a change in from one mature cell type to another cell type. Metaplasia is a benign process and is usually reversible from squamous to epithelium, glandular epithelium. Isa lang to, class, natatandaan ninyo. Well, hindi naman isa lang. Pero ang pinaka-common kasi ay yung uh, squamous epithelium to a glandular epithelium. Okay? Meaning, squamous going to columnar. Di ba? In histology, your glandular cells are a special form of columnar cells. Okay? And your squamous cells are simple epithelial cells. Meaning they are not stratified, no? Meaning they do not have keratin. Okay? So your nakakamiss maghisto. So wala lang, nasabi ko lang. So squamous cells will be converted to columnar due to repeated irritation. So an example of this is, an example, Barrett's esophagus. Okay. So your Barrett's esophagus is a complication of your gastroesophageal reflux disease. Okay? What happens in Barrett's esophagus? In Barrett's esophagus, this is your esophagus. Remember, this is your stomach. Okay? This part here is simple squamous. This part here is columnar. Okay? Kasi lining of your stomach, di ba columnar? Simple columnar, if you can remember. So, due to increase in acid irritation, dapat yung sphincter mo dito, yung lower esophageal junction sphincter mo, dapat matibay ang kapit niyan. Kasi kung hindi, aakyat yung acid dyan. But, ang hilig mong kumain ng spicy food, ang hilig mong kumain ng uminom ng kape, okay? Therefore, you are prone to, uh, I'm checking the spelling, no? Sandali lang ah. Kamali ako ng spelling. Yun. Okay. So, you have an increase in your capsaicin compound, parang capsicum. Di ba ang capsicum yung kay Curtis, yung parang yung sili, nilagyan niya ng ano. So, yung capsaicin mo, okay, yung capsaicin mo will now loosen up the tightness of this sphincter here and therefore causing your uh, acid to go up here and irritate this lining. Remember, this is just simple lining. Okay? So mahina yan. Okay? So in Barrett's esophagus, probably due to GERD or binge drinking. Kung ikaw, inom ka ng inom, tapos suka ka ng suka kinabukasan, okay, okay pa naman yung atay mo, no? Pues yung esophagus mo baka hindi, no? So that will now form so your lining here will have no choice but to adapt, and when it adapt, no, it will now change the lining here. So your Barrett's esophagus can give rise to your esophageal carcinoma or your cancer pag hindi na-address ng maayos. Okay? Another one is your cervical metaplasia. Okay? Your squamocolumnar junction, kasi may dalawa akong sinasabi lagi nung histo ko. No? You have two very important squamocolumnar junctions. One in the uterus, and one in the cervix, and one in your lower esophageal sphincter. Okay? Okay? So in your cervix, when you are infected with an HPV, so that may now cause change in the lining of your squamocolumnar junction in your cervix. So parang nagiging ganito siya. Okay? Parang nagiging ganito yung lining ng inyong lining sa cervix. Okay? So when that happens, okay, when that happens, that will now be probably a precursor to cervical cancer. Pero metaplasia kasi is benign. Okay? So ngayon, kapag ka nakakita ka ngayon ng ganun in pap smear or kung ano mang test na ginawa, VIA, okay? So po pwede mong sabihin na probably may irritation lang to but not necessarily a cancer arising or not necessarily this is a cervical HPV virus happening, no? So, yun, no? So, po pwede ka pa din magkaroon ng grain of salt regarding that. However, iba naman yung kapag naging dysplasia na. Okay, mamaya ko nasasabihin dysplasia. So, your lining of the lungs also. Anong lining lang lungs ninyo? Okay? It's your pseudostratified columnar ciliated epithelium with cilia. Okay? O sige, kompletuhin natin and goblet cell. Your goblet cell produces your mucus, remember. Okay? Your pseudocolumnar ciliated epithelium, ciliated, that is the lining of the lungs. Okay? But in cases of squamous metaplasia, nagiging stratified squamous columnar na siya, no? Stratified squamous columnar na siya. And you know that this is a squamous simple epithelium. Wala kang cilia sa squamous. Ang meron ka, keratin. Hindi mo kailangan ng keratin. Ano yan? Kinakalyo? Okay? So, you have your stratified squamous uh, columnar. Okay? Stratified squamous, sorry, epithelium pala ito. Okay? So, from something na merong cilia, na merong goblet cell that will protect you, naging stratified squamous siya, ano nangyayari? That will now make the person prone to infection. And this change always happen in chronic smokers. Okay, so smoking doesn't really do anything good. It's the one habit that I tell my students, I tell everyone that smoking does not really do you any good. Drinking may have done something better, no? Like for example, in your Mediterranean diet, a glass of red wine every day, one glass will actually is cardioprotective to the heart, but smoking does not have any benefits. Okay? So your next adaptation is your dysplasia. Okay? Dysplasia, common naman uli ito sa cervical dysplasia. Okay? Cervical dysplasia is actually a pre-malignant already. Okay? Caused by your HPV by a human papilloma virus. Okay, class, kung tatanungin kayo, what is the only cancer that is vaccine preventable? Nalang tanong-tanong dyan. That's cervical cancer, which can be uh, uh, prevented by receiving your human papilloma vaccine shots. Are girls the only ones who are allowed for HPV? Hindi. Pwede ang lalaki. Kasi ang lalaki, pwede magkaroon ng anal warts. Okay? Not always necessary speaking na the LGBT group kasi kahit lalaki bigla na lang magkakaroon ng butlig. Okay? So ngayon, also boys can get an HPV shot. You just ask kung anong klaseng dosage yung bibigay. Okay? Okay, so I will have a break muna for 5 minutes. Okay? So 5 minutes break lang muna tayo, class. Thank you. Okay, so going back, cell death. Okay, we are now in cell death. So you can see here, you have two types of injury: reversible, irreversible. Pag reversible, mabubuhay pa yan si cell. Okay? You have a swelling of cell organelles and swelling of the entire cell. Nuclear changes such as hyperchromasia can be seen, and other changes include cytoplasmic densities, membrane blebbing, and detachments of ribosomes. However, kapag ka cell injury mo ay irreversible na, wala na yan. Patay na yan. You have two types of cell death. One is by pathologic, which is necrosis, and one that is programmed already, and that is apoptosis. Necrosis yung death by pathologic causes. The programmed, normal, expected death is your apoptosis. Okay? So your necrosis is the death of groups of cells due to injury, always pathologic, and never occur in normal tissues. Am I forgetting something? Okay? Which results in the release of multiple cellular components that will trigger an inflammatory reaction. Okay? Later na. And then we have different types of necrosis. First, we have your coagulation necrosis, usually due to hypoxia when denaturation occurs and the cell maintains their architecture for a few days. Okay, this is usually seen in high protein types of tissues like your muscle. Okay? Liquefactive necrosis, this is very common or very pathognomonic to the death of the brain tissues. Liquefactive, tubig, sabaw, hence sabaw ang utak mo, no? So yun na lang yung palatandaan ninyo. So results in transformation of cells into thick liquid and complete loss of their structure, such as in cases of bacterial infection of the brain. Okay? Caseous necrosis, cells become amorphous and lose their architecture, like your granulomatous inflammation in tuberculosis or fungal infection. Caseous, also known as GC, makeso. Okay? So therefore, caseous is uh, cheese-like necrosis. Fat necrosis is enzymatic necrosis that is seen in the tissues, particularly in acute pancreatitis. Okay? Therefore, sa pancreas, yung magkakos ng pain, that's fat necrosis already. And in the breast tissue. Okay? Fibrinoid necrosis, deposition of fibrin in the blood. Wala lang masyado yan. Okay? And then, apoptosis mo, the programmed cell death of an individual, not groups of cell, normal tissue, like your endometrial fetal tissue, abnormal tissue, like your tumor cell, and then your initiation and activation of your caspases, which is monitored by several genes like your TB53 suppressor gene and your BCL2 anti-apoptotic gene. And the main morphologic characteristic of apoptosis that differentiates it from necrosis is that the cells and cellular organelles that shrink, the cell membranes remain intact, chromatin becomes condensed, cytoplasmic buds, and apoptotic bodies form. So, magma-matter ang kung anong klaseng cell death ang meron kayo. Okay? In cases of necrosis, the death is disorganized. Okay? So this is your cell. This is your cell wall. Sabog. Lalabas ang mitochondria, lalabas ang nucleus, lalabas lahat. Okay? But in okay, but in cases of your apoptosis, okay? There's what we call apoptotic bodies. Okay? For example, this is your cell. Okay? So, liliit muna siya. Magiging ganyan siya. Tapos, magkakaroon cytoplasmic budding. And then, mangyayari, in short, liliit siya ng ganyan. Organized. So, each one of these has a portion of a cell membrane. So, ibig sabihin, hindi sumabog palabas ang inyong organelles. Okay? And also, this is very, very important. There's no exposure of your phospholipid in your from your cell wall. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, hindi na-expose si phospholipid doon sa environment. Bakit? Because exposure of your phospholipid, like what happens here, no? So, kitang-kita mo si phospholipid na kumakalat, that will now trigger inflammation. Okay? Masakit, magkakalagnat ka. Okay? Kasi nga na-expose si phospholipid. However, dito wala kasi nag-form ka ng apoptotic bodies na contain lahat. No? There's no exposure to phospholipid cell wall. Next, okay? Inflammation refers to a both protective response and an intended response intended to eliminate an initial cause of cell injury and the necrotic cells and tissues resulting from the original insult. Inflammation can be acute or chronic. Inflammation is not always bad, Glass. So sometimes it's a warning system that your body is still active. Remember, kung ikaw ay immunocompetent, okay? Kung ikaw ay immunocompetent, whatever it is that is given to you, pwede kang OA mag-react. Like for example, magfi-fever ka, kukumbulsyonin ka, no, may pain at the injection site. All of those, kung unless hindi ka naman parang anaphylactic doon sa bakuna, those are actually good signs. Okay? However, in patients with immune compromise, share ko rin pala ito. So in cases of immunosuppression, okay, walang ganun. Okay? So in cases of HIV patients wherein the CD4 is decreased, uh, your immune response is low. Okay? Kasi nga, mababa ang CD4 mo. When HIV enters the body, it will find the CD4 cells. Paborito niya yan. Diyan talaga siya mag-multiply. Alam na alam niya talaga kung ano yung pinaka-importanting cell. Okay? So once it gets inside the CD4 cells, it will multiply, it will rupture, and the viral particles will again find another CD4 and then papatayin to the point that your CD4 will now be totally depleted. At the same time, your viral load will now be increased. So there's an inverse ratio between your CD4 and your viral load. Okay? Tandaan nyo to. Tandaan nyo to. Okay? So, ang CD4 mo mababa, ang VL mo mataas. What we want to happen is to make a switch between the two. So, ibig sabihin, papataasin mo ang CD4 mo at the same time, papababain mo ang viral load mo. To the point that pag tinas ang iyong viral load, it will now become undetectable. Okay? Undetectable siya. Yun yung tinatawag natin na U is equal to U. No, undetectable is untransmissible. Anyway, huwag naintindihin yan. So, in cases of immune suppressed patients, walang inflammation. Okay? So, walang inflammation. Todo ngayon, pasok ng pasok ang virus sa katawan, ang mikrobyo sa katawan. Yung pasyente, walang nararamdaman. Kasi nga walang inflammation. Kasi bagsak ang CD4 niya. Okay? So that's my dilemma in initiating HIV treatments to my patient. What happens is that when I try to give them the dolutegravir, tenofovir, lamivudine combination, uh, so tumataas ngayon ang immune response at a very drastic rate. No, increase ang immune response. Kasi namatay ang iyong viruses, tumaas ang CD4 mo. So what happens here is that there will now be a very rapid increase in your CD4 cells. So when that happens, sobrang OA naman ngayon ng immune response mo. Okay? To the point that nagkakaroon tayo ng immune reconstitution inflammatory syndrome o yung tinatawag na IRIS. Dito ko takot kasi yung mga pasyenteng HIV, akala nila pag nag-take sila ng gamot, okay na sila. Remember, ginising mo yan yung immune system. So when you awaken the immune system, that will now set a very, very rapid response. So magfi-fever si pasyente, na-detect ngayon, no, nakita na, uy, meron pala ditong fungal infection, patayin ko nga to. So inflammation yun. O may nakitang TB, patayin ko nga to. So pinatay si TB. O meron nakitang cytomegalovirus, patayin ko nga to. O may candida, patayin ko nga to. So nangyayari, naging over naman yung reaction ng katawan dun sa infection. Therefore, it causes an immune reconstitution syndrome. So lesson with this is that not always the drug for HIV is going to cure a person immediately rather than it's a double-edged sword, it may kill the person. Okay? So we have two types of inflammation. Ay, sorry, I forgot. So in cell injury and inflammation, phospholipid release is crucial event that can exacerbate or initiate inflammatory responses, okay, when cells are damaged. However, kapag ka meron, ito naman siguro kabisado nyo na to, yung mga cardinal signs of inflam. Okay? Of course, you have your redness, which is your rubor. Rubor, kaya ka namumula kasi you have an increased blood flow to the area caused by redness. Tandaan nyo yung cause ha. Increased blood flow to the area causes redness. Pangalawa is your calor. Calor, increase blood flow also to raise the temperature of the affected heat, meaning affected area. Therefore, the other term for calor is heat, ito redness. Next ay swelling, or what we call a tumor. Basta tumor para may bukol ng swelling. Bakit? Because there is a fluid leakage into the tissues leading to the swelling. Because the initial reaction is a vasodilation response. Okay? Tandaan nyo, the vasodilation response in the early cases of inflammation will make your blood vessels leaky. So, ibig sabihin, yung fluid dun sa loob, tatakas ngayon, mapupunta ngayon sa extracellular space, mapupunta sa tissue spaces, and what will happen is that there's going to be a swelling. Okay? Of course, lahat ng yan, walang pain, hindi ka mag-iinarte kung wala kang nararamdamang dolor or what we call a pain. So, ano nangyari? Because there's swelling and chemical mediators can irritate the nerve endings causing pain. And what you do not want to happen is for it to lose its function or what we call a functionalizer. Functionalizer. Ay, pangit. Functionalizer. Okay? Okay, so next here we have two types of response, acute or chronic. Acute inflammation, an early response to injury within hours to days. Okay? That initiates vascular changes. Ito sabi ko, dilatation, increased permeability of the fluid, cellular changes, and leukocyte white blood cell. So the leukocyte response to injury starts the inflammation process when the leukocytes exit the blood vessels through margination, rolling, adhesion, transmigration, and start of chemotaxis. So yun ang naman yung process kung paano na napupunta nga. Kasi ang hirap kasi ito aralin klase kung paano nalaman ng white blood cell mo sa braso mo na merong infection dun sa paa mo. Yun yung common na joke na tinatanong sa amin, no? So, it's this, no? It's through this type of mechanism. Okay? So, the goal of acute inflammation is to limit injury and restore the tissue. And the main cells in acute inflammation are your neutrophils. Okay? Chronic inflammation naman, ito ang nakakainis. Chronic inflammation is prolonged active inflammation lasting weeks to years associated with destruction and repair. Away bate ang katawan mo dito dun sa sugat. For example, nagkasugat, hindi mo hinugasan. Ay, nagkasugat, yung cell mo, ah, pina-fight yung bacteria. Okay? However, hindi mo hinugasan, hindi ka nag-take antibiotic, edi lalong lumala. Tapos yung cell mo na naman, mag-attempt na naman siya na i-repair siya hanggang sa paulit-ulit na lang, no? Until that your body will decide who will be the ultimate winner at the end of your life, no? So, ikaw ba ay nag-heal or ikaw ba ay succumb, no? Nag-succumb dun sa inflammation. So, So, basahin niyo na lang ito. But what I'm trying to say here is that the lymphocytes are the main cells in chronic inflammation, but macrophages, plasma cells, monocytes, and eosinophils will also still play a role. Okay? Tissue repair, the process of acute and chronic inflammation with the intention to restore the normal tissue structure. It requires the ability of the cells to replicate, regenerate, depends on the cell type as follows. You have here your stem cells, with these are your labile cells. So they replicate throughout their lives to replace lost cells. The stable cells or your fibroblasts can replicate only when activated to replace a lost cell. Ang pinagkaiba nito, ah almost pareho to eh. Pero ito kasi dedicated na siya sa kung ano yung kanyang palitan. However, stem cells, remember this is a pluripotential type of cell. So meaning it can be used to grow to different types of ano, na kung ano kailangan ng katawan mo. Okay? However, permanent cells, they do not replicate. What they can only do ay mag-heal and leave a fibrosis scar. No? So granulation tissue is the main type of tissue in the process of tissue repair, consisting of a new blood vessel, fibroblasts, and collagen. Tissue repair and the formation of collagen are stimulated and monitored by special genes and chemical mediators such as our PDGF, TGF-beta, FGF, and WBGF. Okay? Now, going forward to a little bit of the immune system. So the immune system is more a functional system rather than an anatomical or organ-based system. Remember, your heart is there, which will give rise to the cardiovascular system. Okay? Nandun lang siya. Even your lungs, even your brain, even your intestine. But immune system is not. You have macrophages in the brain, you have your thymus in your neck, you have your spleen in your stomach, you have your lymph nodes all over your body. Okay? And then you have your, anong tawag nyo sa macrophage ng liver? Can anyone remember? Starts with letter K.
Copper cell pulsar.
Ano na? Parang tama na yon, narinig ko.
Copper cell po.
Okay, Kupffer cells, no? What about the skin? Anyone? So it's your Langerhans, no? Kapag sa lungs, it's your dust cell or your type 2 pneumocytes. Kapag sa brain, it's your microglia. Okay? Patay pala to. Hindi ko magana. Okay? So, ano pa ba? Okay, so those are your immune system. So when you study immune system, ang hirap, ang dami bumabagsak because the students, limit only it to the WBC, no? So It's a very wide type of system. So it consists of a diverse array of molecules, trillions of immune cells. So these molecules and immune cells inhabit lymphoid tissues and circulate in body fluids. And the function is to protect the body from most infectious organisms, your cancer cells, your transplanted organs, and any other foreign materials, and can act directly uh, by cell attack and can act directly by releasing immobilizing uh, chemicals and antibody molecules. So I would like to go here. Okay, bakit kaya transplanted organs, no? Bakit yung pinoprotect ng mga pasyente natin yung ay ng bakit pinoprotektahan tayo ng cells natin from transplanted organs? Eh kailangan nga natin yung transplant organ, eh, no? So yun talaga class. Okay? So when you have a transplant, okay? When you have a transplant organ, make sure uh, there's always going to have a possibility that your body will reject, okay? I-reject na talaga yan. So that is why you need something, okay, that will decrease your immune response, therefore decreasing your immune system. Do we want to decrease our immune system? Hindi. Pero kailangan eh. Bakit? Kasi baka i-reject na yung transplant organ, mamamatay ka naman. Okay? So therefore, having a transplant is not always a good thing because you will be in a lifetime medication with steroids. Okay? Steroids are particularly prednisone. Okay? They will now decrease your immune system. So that is why transplant patients are considered as comorbid patients. They are on the top priority list. 'Di ba napapansin ninyo yung sa COVID vaccine? Okay, ang bibigyan lang po muna natin yung mga may comorbids, senior citizen, may cancer, immunocompromised, transplant patients. Okay? Because it's not about the organ that was implanted to them, but rather it's the fact that they are taking in steroids para hindi ma-reject. But the steroids is double-edged. It can now also decrease your immune system, therefore decreasing your immune response. So pagka nagkaroon ka ng TB, hindi ka uubo. No, pwede kumalat muna yung virus sa katawan, saka ka mag-manifest ng signs and symptoms. Okay? So mahina ang katawan ng mga transplant patients. Next here, itong type of okay, can directly attack. Class, isulat nyo na lang, it's a form of cell-mediated immunity. Okay, CMI. Okay, cell-mediated immunity, also known as CMI, also known as your cytotoxic immunity. So, ibig sabihin, si cell pupunta doon para patayin mismo. So, this is a function of a T cell, a function of your neutrophils, a function of your macrophage. Again, going back. So this is a type of pag sinabing act directly by cell attack. So this is a cytotoxic immunity, also known as your cell-mediated immunity or your CMI. And the cells involved here are your T cells and your neutrophils and your macrophages. However, if your a, a way of combating a certain virus or bacteria is by releasing mobilizing chemicals and antibody molecules. Class, this is in a form of what we call a humoral immunity. Humoral immunity. Humoral immunity. Okay. In humoral immunity, the cells involved here are your plasma cells, your B cells. So they will now create your antibodies. So which one is fastest? Ito, CMI. Pero mamamatay yan. Which one is slowest? Ito. Okay? Which one will render a lifetime immunity? Ito. Okay? Yung antibody. So, mabagal, pero sure. Mabilis, pero mamamatay naman agad. Okay? So, you may have encountered certain terms in pathogy, like your pathogen. As it is a microorganism that is able to cause disease. And your pathogenicity is the ability of a microorganism to cause a disease. Virulence, the degree of pathogenicity. So these are just simple terms. However, I would like to dwell on this one, no, opportunistic pathogen. So these are bacteria or even a fungi or even any organism which cause disease in an immunocompromised host. So an opportunistic pathogen is from the word itself, opportunista. Okay? So opportunistic pathogens, okay? Opportunistic pathogens are opportunista. So, like in your mouth, may fungi ka sa mouth, may candida ka dyan, no? Even dun sa vaginal area, no? So, when your good bacteria dies, die pala, bacteria is plural, no? When your good bacteria die, okay, that will be the time for them to set in action, no? To go into fighting. Okay, it's our time to shine. Okay? So, ayun yung nangyayari. So, in cases of puro ko HIV, kasi I manage OIs kasi, no? Opportunistic infection din. So, ang mangyayari kasi nito, for example, HIV patient. Remember Iris, kanina, sabi ko, ang way kasi dito, oh, Dok, gusto ko na pong mag-start ng gamutan, hindi ka pa nga pwede mag-start ng gamutan kasi ang dami mo pang opportunistic infection. Kapag ka nag-start tayo ng gamutan, lahat ng OI mo na yan, papatay ng katawan mo. Ay, sorry, lahat ng, tama, no? Lahat ng cells mo, papatayin yung yung makita, bigla ka magkakaroon ng inflammation. Okay? So what we do actually is to first address the opportunistic infection. So this is like for example, no Cystis carini pneumonia, no cotrimoxazole yan with azithromycin. Plus example lang to. Okay? And then meron ka pang ano sa mata. May CMV ka ba? So ganciclovir, no? Tapos meron ka pang mga ibang sakit. So these are all antibiotics and antivirals. So when you are in overdose of those uh, gamot, pwede kang pumasok sa lethal dose, but at the same time, they work so effectively that even the good bacteria are killed. When they are killed, papasok ngayon si opportunistic infection. So for example, in a mouth, remember, these are antibiotics. They do not work on a fungal infection. They only work on bacterial infection. They also do not work on a viral infection. They will only work on a bacterial infection. So pag namatay ang good bacteria ng mouth, papasok ngayon si Candida na which is an opportunista. Doon siya maghasik ng lagim. Therefore, you will now have oral candidiasis. Okay? Okay. So normal flora, these are harmless bacteria consistently associated with the host. An infection is when an organism breaches the body surface and don't necessarily lead to disease, depends on the route of entry, number of pathogens, immune status of a host. So these are all explanatory, no? So if your route of entry ng TB ay sa baga, of course, in an immunocompromised adult host, like a 69-year-old adult host, and you have a number of pathogens, no? So yun, no? So pwede kayong mag-cause ng infection. So we have here just a summary of yung mga defense system ng body natin. So your innate with innate immune system, these are non-specific
So meaning when you were born, they are already there. They are placed in birth. Okay? So always prepared, responds within minutes, protects the body from all foreign substances, and reduces the workload of your adaptive system. So ito yun sa adaptive. Yan. So doon pa lang binabawasan niya na yung trabaho ng adaptive immune system. So, first line, you have your skin, which is heavily stratified, heavily keratinized. Okay? So, these are stratified squamous, columnar, so stratified squamous lining, uh, keratinized. Yung mga kalyo ninyo sa paa, yung mga kalyo ninyo sa kamay. Okay? So, mucous membranes like your lysozyme, enzymes found in saliva and tears, destroy bacteria. And then you have a sticky mucus in digestive and respiratory tracts, the bacteria. And you have your cilia, will sweep bacteria into the mouth and then you will swallow it. Okay? Your vaginal secretion, stomach will also kill the microbes. Yung second line of defense mo naman, prevents spread of pathogen if surface barriers are breached. So, ito na yun, no? Phagocytes papasok. Macrophages, these are large phagocytic cells. Your granulocytes possess cytoplasmic granules. Your neutrophils, they release toxic chemicals into the extracellular fluid. Eosinophil, basophil, and of course, fever. Okay? Fever, common yan sa pag binakunahan yung pasyente. So, kaya sinasabi nila, there's a myth that, actually hindi naman siya myth, it's a known fact that when you are vaccinated and you experience fever, then good. Okay? So, okay? And when exposed to foreigners, leukocytes and macrophages secrete pyrogens. Pyro, apoy, okay, increases the body's thermostat, increases the metabolic rate, kills microbes, speeds up repair, but it's very taxing to the body of the patient. Ang hirap kaya magkalagnat. O sige, sabihin na natin, class, right, na you are able to fight the infection, but it leaves you, dry, no? It leaves you exhausted, okay? It leaves you weak. Okay, so you have your NK cells as well. They police the body in the blood and lymph nodes. They can lyse and kill the cancer cells and virus-infected cells. They target all cells that lack self-surface receptors, killed by latching onto the invaders and inducing apoptosis. They secrete potential chemicals that promote inflammation, and antimicrobial proteins either attack microbes directly or reduce their reproductive ability, such as your interferons and your complement. So inflammation again, so it sets the stage for repair, sinabi ko na yan kanina. And then for your adaptive immune system, the body's elite special forces equipped with high-tech weapons, they are called into action as reinforcement. So attack specific foreign substances, including antigens and abnormal body cells, and when they are disabled, okay, you have produce cancer, AIDS, etc. So tremendously amplifies inflammatory response as well. It is specific, it recognizes particular pathogen. Its systemic immunity is restricted to an initial infection site, meaning yung infection mo sa paa. Kung ikaw nagka-TB ka or nagkaroon ka ng virus sa paa, ang antibody naman na mapoproduce mo yan is pangkalahatan na. It has memory. Okay? So that is why this is the concept of having a booster shot. Kung kayo nabakunahan na kayo ng Hep B ng bata ninyo, completed 3 doses, hindi nyo na kailangan mag 3 doses sa internship sa third, sa fourth year. Okay? Ito yung sinasabi ko eh. Pero nawala kasi ang record. So, kapag ako nag-issue tapos booster lang and you weren't able to uh, give the actual 3 dose completed dose when you were a baby, so it is as good as you weren't vaccinated at all in the first place. So, what we want is for you to have a complete record. Therefore, nagsa-start kami ng 3 doses. Okay? So, humoral immunity, also known as antibody-mediated immunity, sinabi ko na to, B cells. Cellular immunity, can be transferred from person to person via blood cell, tama? Okay? And antigen causes activation of your macrophages, NK cells, T lymphocytes, and cytokines. Then you have here your macrophages and natural killer cells. They destroy intracellular pathogen, and T cells induce apoptosis of body cells with virus cells, intracellular bacteria, cancerous traits. And then you also have your cytokines. They are enhancing inflammatory response and or activate other lymphocytes and macrophages and activate cells destroy infected foreign cells.